but two other matters, and I've mentioned on a number of occasions the peer who, for some, sparked anger this week after comparing Brexit Britain to Nazi Germany. Speaking in the House, Lord Greaves said he feared that Brexit, 2 weeks away today, could unleash actions reminiscent of things happening in Germany in the early 1930s. Lord Greaves is in the studio with me now. What sort of things do you fear, Lord Greaves? Good morning.
Yes, some people thought I'd said that and were upset.
Well, you did say that.
No, I didn't say that.
Okay, let's play. Okay, Lord Greaves, we'll play you the clip. Listen to this.
I am fearful that on the 31st of January, some things may happen in some places which could be reminiscent of things happening in Germany in the early 1930s.
I repeat my question, what could be reminiscent?
I was referring to pre-Nazi Germany in the circumstances before the...
Yes,
before the Nazis
so what could
took over.
happen here that happened in Germany in the early 1930s?
What happened after the referendum was that there was an increase in incidents. Some were violent incidents, a lot were just rudeness and generally antisocial behaviour towards European citizens living in this country. The 3.5 to 4 million European citizens live in this country at the moment, as of right, as any of us can anywhere in Europe at the moment, anywhere in the EU, and work here. And quite a few of them, not everybody, but quite a few of the citizens I know have told me that they are experiencing a different feeling, a different attitude, a different sense of whether or not they belong in this country.
Right.
As far as the people are concerned. And that is what I am concerned about.
You're likening inexcusable rudeness to Europeans living in this country to Nazi Germany. How many people did the Nazis murder, Lord
No,
Greaves?
I'm not likening that at all.
You talked of Germany in the early 1930s.
Yeah.
So rudeness is like Nazi Germany, is it?
No, I didn't say that. And I want to be very clear.
Play it to you again.
No, you can play it again, and I accept it, and I would say it again. I'm talking about the end of the 1920s and the early 1930s, before Hitler took power, when
Britain's like that, is it?
The German friends I've got tell me that what they sense here feels like what their parents told them it was like at that time in Germany. But the really important thing is that a lot of the European citizens who live here are feeling insecure, they're feeling extremely unhappy, some of them are feeling distressed, they are experiencing week by week a different attitude towards them. They know that after the referendum there were instances of violence. I know of an instance where windows were put through, and another one where paint was daubed on a house and so on. And the concern is that we've really got to make sure that that sort of thing doesn't happen as a result of the celebrations that many people quite rightly will have when we leave the European Union, because they've been campaigning for it, do not get out of hand, and a small minority of people do not turn violent and turn nasty.
You go on to say there are many, many people in this country who are full of dismay and distress. People are crying at night when they go to sleep. They're crying in the morning when they wake up. You know those people, do you?
I'm talking about European citizens, and I know some who tell me that...
Who go to bed crying and wake up crying.
Well, not every day necessarily, but are feeling extremely unhappy.
No, you didn't say that.
I know some...
No, they cry at night when they go to sleep. They cry in the morning when they wake up. How many do you know?
I know enough to... How many European citizens do
how many people do you know who cry when they go to bed at night, when they go to sleep, and they cry in the morning? How many people do you know?
Personally, a handful, and I also...
A handful? You know half a dozen, do you?
Yes.
I see.
And also...
How many marriages do you know have broken up? Apparently marriages are breaking up over Brexit.
I know of 3 or 4 that have broken up.
3 or 4 marriages have broken up. Give me the instances. Why did Brexit end those marriages?
Because European citizens no longer feel that this is a country in which they wish to live, because they feel hurt. They came here, they thought it was a generous, open-minded, outward-looking country.
Are we not a generous, open-minded, outward-looking country?
I think I think we are, as far as that is concerned, we are getting worse.
Right.
We're not as generous and open-minded and outward. And
how helpful is it that the peer of the realm describes it as about being 1930s Germany? How open-minded is that?
Well, I'm describing the fears that I have got.
How open-minded is that?
Open-minded. I think it's open-minded.
To describe Britain as like 1930, that's being helpful, is it?
I'm saying that we've got to prevent that happening.
No, do I've got to play it to you again, reminiscent of things happening in Germany? That's being helpful, is it?
Well, I think it is. What I was trying to do was to persuade the government not to be triumphalist. The real danger...
It doesn't come into it at all. You've not mentioned that at all.
Well, I do. If you read the whole speech that I made, you would find I talked about that. I talked specifically about the ridiculous proposals for Big Bang Bongs, or whatever they're called.
Why is that ridiculous?
Because it's triumphalist.
Why?
Well...
is it not marking a moment in history? When they sound on Remembrance Sunday, is that triumphalist?
But the whole country is united behind that. As far as Brexit is concerned...
Respectfully, it's not. There are pacifists, actually,
there are indeed,
who are against war. So
yes,
they're not all behind it, Lord Greaves.
But
and there are some people who don't celebrate the same year that I sense you and I do. They live by a different calendar. But we allow it to sound for New Year's Eve. We allow it to sign for Remembrance Sunday. Why can't we allow it to sign to mark a change in history? Because
it's a change in history which has divided this country into two. This country is totally divided. It was divided at the referendum. It's got more divided since then. You've only got to talk to people. You've got to look at social media to see that...
You take all your cues from social media,
I don't.
You talk to these Europeans who can't sleep at night, which is very sad. What's this about disciplinary action you're facing at your local authority, Lord Greaves?
Oh, it's a trivial matter.
So calling a member of the public a Nazi is a trivial matter?
I think Tommy Robinson is a neo-Nazi.
Okay.
And this was a person wearing a Tommy Robinson T-shirt.
And you're in a position of responsibility. You're a locally elected councillor.
No, can we...
And you decide to... So calling someone a Nazi is a trivial matter?
It's not a trivial matter.
You just said it. What you said it was a trivial matter. But why did you use that word?
The incident that took place.
Aren't you leading to the problems you've just described?
No, I'm not.
By you describing someone as a Nazi, aren't you actually causing some of the unrest you're trying to prevent?
Can we just calm down a little bit?
Can you answer the question?
Talk about what I'm talking about?
No, I'd like you to answer the question about the disciplinary action you're facing at your local authority.
Well, it's not a disciplinary action I am facing. It is.
Well, complaints have been lodged against you, haven't they? Pendle Borough Council.
A complaint has been lodged against me by somebody I regard who is a neighbour of mine, who is a local fascist, who has been one of the people who has been abusive against another neighbour of mine who is a European citizen.
Right.
Now, fair enough, they can do what they like, and the procedure will take place. But
why did you call him a Nazi?
Oh, because it was somebody who was stood behind us when we were at a council meeting. We were sitting, a group of us.
Right.
Some of our...
You like bandying words around.
Some of my
Nazi
colleagues,
Germany,
are you going to listen to the answer I'm giving you?
Well, you just seem to
see
so fond of using analogies such as Nazi Germany and Nazis.
You asked me what...
And you talk about being open and
this was
liberal.
This was a meeting which was discussing an application to convert a listed building for use as a mosque, where the opposition was racist. They brought in a neo-Nazi group from outside to have demonstrations, and they raised a petition from all over the world against...
Do you regret the use of the word Nazi?
In what case?
In this instance, at Pendle Borough Council, do you regret using that word?
No, because the person who was...
You don't regret using the word Nazi?
The person who was... I might have said neo-Nazi, that would have been a better thing to say.
You said Nazi.
Well, I did. I mean, I just turned round, saw this person. He was wearing a Tommy Robinson T-shirt. Now, Tommy Robinson...
You're worried about divisions in this country, and you bandy the word Nazi around.
We were at a meeting where we had a group of people there behaving in an aggressive way.
You're an elected councillor. You're a person of responsibility.
Are you going to listen to my answer or not?
Are you going to listen to my answer or not? It falls to people like you to rise above it, not to come down to the level of using words like Nazi and fascist.
It's people like me to challenge racism when it appears, to challenge Islamophobia when it appears, and that meeting was full of people who were racist and Islamophobic, who said things like, we do not want a mosque in Cone.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
And the atmosphere was getting aggressive, the people behind us were aggressive.
Then it falls to your responsibility to calm it down.
I was very calm. I turned round...
Respectfully suggest using the word Nazi as elected councillors does not represent calmness.
You're not going to listen to what I'm saying, are you?
You shouldn't use the word.
I was at the meeting, you weren't.
I was not,
If a person like Tommy Robinson is
It
a
wasn't Tommy
neo-Nazi.
Robinson, was it?
It was somebody wearing a Tommy Robinson T-shirt.
Right, okay.
And so I just turned round, and to my surprise, I saw he was wearing a Tommy Robinson T-shirt, and I said, "Oh, a Nazi."
Right.
Now, perhaps I'd have been better not to say, but you say things on the spur of the moment. I did not say it aggressively. I just commented on the fact that the people behind us who were being aggressive...
Well, I have a note here that he'd actually not said anything inflammatory or nor highly offensive. I wasn't there, I don't know, but his crime was to wear a T-shirt, was it?
The people,
and you talk about a
the
settled
people
Britain.
he was with us.
That's laughable, Lord Greaves, isn't it?
Well, you may think it's laughable.
It's
but,
laughable.
Well, I think
you talk about.
Can I say what I think is laughable?
And you tell someone he's a Nazi because of his T-shirt.
Can I say?
Good Lord,
we had
and you're the Liberal Democrat.
We had neo-Nazi demonstrations in the town.
Right. This man's crime was to wear a T-shirt.
He was part of a group. We had a presentation. We had a presentation by his colleague, which was racist.
Okay. Well,
this colleague was removed from the committee by the chairman at the end of the meeting because of his racism.
Wear a T-shirt. Lord Greaves, I'm grateful for your time. Whatever.
Well,
happens.
you're not listening to what I say.
Well, what else would you want to add?
I think this interview has been a disgrace.
Oh, do you? Tell me why that would be, Lord Greaves.
Because you don't listen to what I say.
I've offered you every opportunity.
No,
this is a disgrace. What is an elected member of a local authority calling a man a Nazi for what? If I'm a disgrace, what's that, Lord Greaves?
Don't you think that neo-Nazis should be called out?
I wasn't there. Absolutely, absolutely. But I wouldn't call someone a Nazi simply because of his T-shirt, Lord Greaves. And I feel, unless there's something else you want to add, I have to end it there.
The group of people at the meeting were racists. They were presenting a petition which had been got up by neo-Nazis. They were, and as I say, the person who made the real presentation is a well-known person who I believe is a fascist.
Well, I'm grateful you haven't named anyone, so that means we can conclude this conversation. I'm grateful for your time. Lord Greaves joining me here on LBC, where the 8:30 news a little bit late.